to Your Money Matters, folks. I am Alan Kaplan, your host. This is advice and guidelines on how to build a secure future for you and your family. Well, folks, I want to thank everyone. Last week's show was an incredible show, had a lot of call-ins, and I'm proud to announce that next week we're also going to be on in the Denver area, which is, astounding, just wonderful. And what we did last week is we talked about conventional retirement wisdom may be wrong, and I showed you how to take the equity out of your house and put it into a side fund. And we're going to do all this stuff again today because the response was just too overwhelming. And there was a lot of questions. And of course, if folks, what we'll talk about today, and I'm going to mention this again because this is the most important thing, that whatever I talk about today, whatever I'm discussing in today, your individual situation may be a little bit different, but it has to be, the concept is still there. And you have to work with somebody who understands. And this is a plan, okay? This is a way of life, and this is a plan, and it's not new. It's been around for a long time. And I'm just going to show you how to take the equity out of your house, put it into a liquid account that's safe. And I want to tell you that I had some numbers this past week that people that were in the S&P 500 made 11.4% last year. The number, if they got it in July by July 1st. And that was a very nice number. Their mortgages were under 6% in the fives, and they made a lot of money. And with the compounding interest, I just want to congratulate them, because if you had $200,000, my God, you just got another $11,000 that's going to be compounding year after year. And this is the way to go, because like I told you before, if I took a mortgage, somebody had a $500,000 mortgage, and I took all the equity out of the house and I put it into a liquid side fund that's guaranteed and is tax-free at the end of the 30 years, instead of just paying off that mortgage, but they got, almost $2 million, and this is the way to go. I'm not talking about anything else, but folks, it's really important for you to look at certain things. One of them is being your house. Your house is an investment. And people worry sometimes, well, we don't want to take the equity out of the house. We want to pay it down as soon as possible. Well, that may not necessarily be true, and we'll discuss that today. So anyway, today's discussion will cover a number of financial planning topics. Some may apply to specific circumstances, and some may not. And please consult a professional of your choice who understands your situation and these concepts before you implement them, because it's very important that you implement them the right way. Okay, and I always talk about what you don't know can hurt you, folks. And the worst form of ignorance is rejecting something we know little or nothing about. And today we're going down that street that many investors and financial planners know very little about. And we're going to talk about a financial investment, a product that that you had no information or very bad information about. Many people in the dark, and we want to shed some light on this to show you what the financial product is all about. Well, let's talk about this one investment, folks. It earns 0% return. Each dollar invested increases your income tax bill. It's not liquid, especially when you need it. And each deposit reduces the safety of your principal, and when fully funded, it produces 0% of income. And if you stop making deposits before it's fully funded, the financial custodian of this account keeps the account. Does anybody know what it is? Of course. Most people put serious money in exactly this investment, and you may guess it, it's your house. It's your primary residence. Now, there are 7 financial mistakes, folks, but there are just 3 categories of them. One is your home, the way you look at your home. The second is your retirement plans, and the third is the financial advisors that you choose. Treating your home different than any other investment is the number one mistake that we all have. The reason for buying a home in the 2000 National Housing Survey done by Fannie Mae was for the reason for long-term investment. If you believe your home is a long-term investment, then shouldn't you manage it as carefully as your other investments? And I say absolutely. Wise investors do this all the time. What happens here, folks, is we are sidetracked by what we hear in the media, by what we hear about people who are selling different products. We are just sidetracked. We believe that Wall Street is a way to go, and maybe not. I'm not going to knock it, but what we need to do is we need the safety of our principal. We need the liquidity, the access of your money. You need the growth potential and the tax efficiency. Now, when you start paying off your home, you lose the tax efficiency in that, and that is really important for us to have. Now, there's the mistake number 2 is 5 little words that my home equity is safe. Okay? And there are 3 possible problems in this. You could become disabled, you could lose your job, and the home prices may decline in your area. We live in California. We are seeing just a little bit of a decline, but the fact of the matter is that we don't know what's going to be in store, that this is a global economy now. What happens in China or anywhere else in the world can't affect us. What happens if your income goes away or just goes down? You become disabled. You lose your job. Could you still afford that mortgage? What can you sell your home for if you were forced to sell? If home prices fall, what happens to your equity position? And the question I have to ask folks, are we in a real estate bubble? As your home goes down in value, you can lose some money. We know that, even if it's paid for. The equity in your home is liquid. That's what most people think. But is it really? Is it truly? Question I have to ask, how do you take the equity out of your home? When do you generally need it? When times are good or bad? How do you get your equity when times are bad? It's not liquid at that time. Is an investment really liquid if you can only get your money when times are good? Mistake number 4, and this is a very big one, folks. My home equity has a great rate of return. We know it doesn't. Okay? Your home equity doesn't. Home equity just sits there. It's up to you. If you want to take the home equity out, you can put it. You have to borrow that money, and you have to find an account that will at least earn that much money, and this is what we're talking about doing. There's 2 different homes. The value of home number 1 is $300,000, and the home 2 is $300,000. One has a mortgage of 0, and the other has a $300,000 mortgage. So one home has $300,000 worth of equity, and one mortgage has no equity at all. Now, if the value goes up to $500,000, the value in the equity in home number 1 is still $500,000. In home 2, which has the mortgage of $300,000, the equity went up, and now their equity is worth $200,000 because they have a $300,000 mortgage. Very simple process. Okay, the results is home number 1, the original equity is $300,000. The new equity is now $500,000. Has a growth of $200,000 worth of equity. Home number 2, the original equity was 0. The new equity was $200,000, and the growth of the equity was still $200,000. So the growth doesn't matter what kind of money you have in the house. The growth of your equity is going to be the same. The home returns. What was the rate of return on your home equity, folks? Okay, 0. The money is just sitting there doing nothing. Both homes were great investments, but the equity didn't earn a dime. Okay, so mistake number 5 is paying your home off early. Old school versus new school, and I want to get into this old school versus new school. Our parents did some things one way, and it made sense for them. Today, we do these differently, and it makes sense for us. Banks could call your mortgage at any time. This means that if they called you, had to pay your mortgage off in full. And that was the old days, folks. The old school was put as much money down in your home as you can and pay the balance off as fast as you can. That was old school. Question, folks, can banks call your mortgage today? If the government were willing to help you pay your mortgage, how much help do you want? Interest on mortgage may be tax deductible. You were limited to a $1 million loan. The new school thought, use interest-only loans to maximize the government's contributions. Keep as little equity in a home as you can and use other people's money to get rich.